there, Joe back again, and I realized that as I was putting together the Lightroom Develop Module series that I hadn't included anything that would take advantage of the transform tool because I don't do a lot of photography with buildings. However, this is kind of snapshotty, but it was really just more recording the place. This is downtown Silverton, Colorado, and it's got issues obviously with the exposure and the color, and we also see this entire building because this was a relatively wide lens. In fact, let's hit the I key and hit it again, and it was shot at 40 millimeters. So, all right, so we're seeing a little bit of distortion on the building here. Now, if we take a look at the histogram up here, you can see this, even though the image is very dark, this is actually a perfect histogram. It comes almost right to the very right. In fact, it says there's something that's pure black, and it's actually underneath the wheel well of this pickup truck. So yes, it's 100% black. We don't care. What we do care about are highlights, and we have these beautiful clouds over here. And as I bring the little magnifying glass over top of this, if you look underneath the histogram up here, you can see those three numbers appear, and you see 96.8, 97, 96.9, which is pretty pure white. If it had gone to 99.9, that would mean it was gone. So we got very close to the edge, yet the rest of the scene is dark because of lots of different reasons, but it was approaching the limit of what the camera could capture. So let's go through the edit, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at how to fix this leaning building. So the obvious things, we'll bring the shadows all the way up. It's not enough, they're still a little too dark. But if we bring the exposure up, we'll start to clip the highlights. So we need to bring the highlights down. We'll do that first, and then we'll bring the exposure up. And we want the image to be a little flat because we're going to add some spice to it that will bring that back. As far as color temperature goes, let's try daylight and see what happens. Not a big difference. I'm not really thrilled with the color of the sky here because there's two color temperatures in this image, and that's something that happens all the time. We had this in shade, and then we had the sky. And your camera can only capture one color temperature, so we're going to fix that manually. All right, so we've got an exposure we can work with. Let's go ahead and add some texture and some clarity, and that's adding some pop to it. I'm going to add a little dehaze also. All right, so then from here, let's add some saturation, and we'll add some vibrance. Well, that's looking a heck of a lot better already. So that we have a quick reference so we can see, regardless of what we do, we can see the before and after, I'm going to create a virtual copy of this, which is Command or Control apostrophe, and I'm going to reset this one. So then we can hit them both and hit the C key, which is compare in Lightroom, and we can see before and after where we've come. So certainly a lot different, a lot better. However, as I mentioned, I don't like the color the sky is gone. So we're going to go in, somehow I got out of the develop module. So back into the develop module, we're going to go down to the HSL, the Hue Saturation Luminance panel. And I find that when you do a lot of highlight shadow adjustments like we just did, a lot of times the sky does have a tendency to go a little bit towards the cyan. So we're going to come up here to the Hue panel, and we're going to push this blue. So you can see here's the default right in here, a little too green for me. We're going to make it bluer. And also to kind of fit in with the color or the lighting in the foreground, I'm going to bring the luminance down a little bit as well. Let's bring that down. Yeah, it looks better. Okay, so looking a lot better again when you consider we started here. So there's more I could do. This is not a great photograph. This is more just documenting what the main street of Silverton, Colorado looks like. Let's jump down to the effects panel though, or not the effects panel, rather the transform panel. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. Now the default is this just upright thing, and we can click on the vertical slider, and as we push it left and right, you see what happens. So we can kind of go with this until we see that building fairly straight up and down. We can also click on the constrain crop, and now you can see it's pretty good, and you can fine tune it from here, maybe a little bit more. The danger of doing that is you can make something on the edge straight and then something in the middle not straight, but actually that did a pretty darn good job of it. All right, that's pretty good. I'm going to make another virtual copy of this so that I can reset this. And again, you can reset any Lightroom thing you've changed by double-clicking on the word. And this time I'm just going to we'll turn off the constrain crop too. Let's make sure we're seeing our entire image. So we go to the crop tool. Yeah, let's just see as shot the entire thing. So we'll hit done there. Again, back down to transform. This time I'm going to let Lightroom do it for me. I'm just going to click right here where it says auto. See, it's right here in the middle. Click on auto and it will do what it thinks is best. Now, it was focused on the middle. Obviously, this bell tower is important. And from the position that we were in, maybe this was slightly leaning in because we're down underneath it, and that's okay. So that's a real fast way to do this. As we're here, all right, I can't help to want to edit this a little bit more. What is the focus? Now, these clouds are beautiful, and there's a tendency to rely on them, even though this is the subject. And obviously, this pickup truck's back that is sticking out is annoying. It's drawing you away from everything else. So I'm going to click on the crop tool. First thing I'm going to do is turn off the lock tool there so I can do it in one direction. I'm going to go just to the edge. Oh, I'm going to keep the edge of that bumper because I want to show you another tool while we're here. Edge of the bumper, and I'm going to bring this down, and now we've got, in fact, maybe we don't need all of this building. And as I'm looking at this, I'm seeing two things. One, yep, the tree is perfectly straight. Everything's nice and straight. Two, this is looking suspiciously to me like an 8x10. So let's take a look at the choices here and make it an 8x10. And all right, it was getting kind of close. It's still a little bit more square than we had. But we'll make it an 8x10 just to have it fit in a standard frame should you want to frame it. All right. So I'm thinking something like that. Now we have this bumper sticking out. And the reason I left that there is because I wanted to show you an option on the spot removal tool, which is this thing right up here. I'm going to click on that. And if I make a brush big enough to handle this and click on here, see, it's picking up other stuff. It's just not really working great. So really the answer for this is to change it from heal to clone. This is one of those times when we want to use clone. So we're going to come over here, select the entire thing, and we can even move where it is sampled from so that we don't have repeating stones or what have you, and then hit enter on that. And that gets rid of it cleanly without any kind of those halos or picking up other colors from things. Now we hit done, and you can see it's perfectly clear. So while we're here, let's finish it off. I'm going to go to effects. I'm going to add a little bit more of a vignette. And I want to focus the viewer's eye on, I believe this is just like the town hall or something here. I want your eyes to go there. So let's go ahead and create a radial filter. Actually, we'll kind of center everybody right here. I'm going to bring this down, but then we're going to add in the bell tower. Actually, technically, we don't need this building on the right. It's not that attractive, is it? Okay. So let's say there, and we'll hit the O key, which is the overlay. Remember the overlay key. And it's going to show us it selected everything but that because we did not hit the invert button. So let's hit invert. And you see that's the area that it's got. And while we're here, we can click on the brush on the top of this, turn on auto mask, and click up on the top of this bell tower and get the rest of it in as well. We got the shadows. We didn't really need those. And also we can hit the Alt key, which turns it to a minus, and we can get rid of the edge of this building here that we really didn't want, and even all those shadows. That said, the mountain here is really nice. Let's add a little bit more just to the slope of the mountain. And let's also make sure we're getting this top of the building in full. Okay, so there's the area that's going to be affected. We'll hit the O key again to hide our overlay. And let's bring up the exposure. Oh yeah, much nicer. And we'll add some contrast to it. We'll bring some more saturation in. And that's looking much nicer. As I increase the exposure, I realize that the clouds in the back are starting to disappear. So we need to get rid of those off of here. So hold down the O key again, or the Alt or the Option key again, and I'm just going to paint over top of the clouds, which is deselecting it. So if I hit our O again, you can see now what I just did. Really technically don't need the blue in here either. So with Auto Mask, notice it just picks up the clouds and the sky and selects the rest of this. Also, the area on the side of the slope that was bright went maybe a little bit too bright as well. So we'll do the same thing by getting rid of that. Now we'll hit the O key to hide that, and that looks great. All right, so there we have a little portrait of downtown Silverton, Colorado. And once again, I'm going to hide the panels on either side. You do that by hitting Shift-Tab, and then I'm going to hit the C key. And since I have those two images selected, there's our before and after. And I'm going to have to hit Shift-Tab again while we're here. And then lastly, there's the lights panel, which is the L key on your keyboard. If I hit it once, it dims, but you still see a little of the background. Hit it twice, and you just see the images before and after. So we took that image on the right, that's what we started with, and turned it into that one on the left. Got our building straight, got us focused on the town hall, and got the sky in a much better place. Again, not a wonderful photo, not an incredible photograph, but it does tell the story of downtown Silverton, Colorado.